guys, this is Stephanie and I have Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Today I'm coming to you guys with my winter TBR. I decided I like doing TBRs for seasons more than month to month because I am terrible at sticking to a TBR over 1 month, but I find that I'm a lot better at it when I actually have like 3 months to read this stack of books than, 1 month to read this stack of books. So what I did in the fall is I chose 20 books that I wanted to read, and I read 10 of those, and that was actually my goal, is to read 10 of the 20. And I actually took a picture of them here on my phone so I wouldn't forget what those 10 books were. So a quick wrap up of the fall, though I do have monthly wrap ups you guys can go look at if you want to. I wanted to read The Search for Wandla, The Disappearances, My Lady Jane, the second course, The Girl Who Circumvented Fairyland, All the Light We Cannot See, The Nightingale, Red Rising, Crooked Kingdom, Holiday and Death, Morgan's Cross, The Penultimate something, it's a series of unfortunate events, The End, The Well of Ascension, Partners in Crime, Codename Verity, Beekeeper's Apprentice, Demon King Starflight, Anya's Ghost, and Sleepy Hollow, and New York. And I went through those quickly. I read half of those. The ones I did read were My Lady Jane, All the Light We Cannot See, The Nightingale, The End, The Penultimate whatever, Well of Ascension, Partners in Crime, Beekeeper's Apprentice, Anya's Ghost, and Red Rising, which I will have done before the fall ends. So I'm pretty proud of myself. That's pretty good for me. I still read a lot of books during the fall. I just am not good at like laser beaming in and reading those. My biggest problem is I love getting books from the library. About a year ago, I decided I'm not just going to buy every book that I want to read, because then I ended up with books that I don't like. And why do I have books on my bookshelf that I don't like? Like, why? What I started doing is getting the book from the library, unless I'm certain I'm going to like it. And then I read it, and if I like it at the library, then, I'll go buy it. But this way, I'm not purchasing as many books that I regret purchasing. However, because I am borrowing from the library, I am at the library as well. So when it says things like, you're next in line, come get your book, I have to go get my book, and then I have 3 weeks to read it, and then I have to take it back. So I'm usually kind of at the will of the library when it comes to that. Right now I have like 6 library books sitting upstairs, so I just need to choose which ones I'm going to read and which ones I'm just going to have to take back because I just can't read them all. But I do own a lot of books too, and I'm trying to focus on reading the books that I own. But when I get my ADD, at least I'm not purchasing more books. I mean, I've had a problem in the past, if you can tell. So I have 20 books that I have selected. Some of them are carryovers from last fall that are books that I still am kind of in the mood to read, that I am hoping to read this winter. A lot of them just kind of have a wintry feel to me. I don't know why, but they just do. I mean, they don't really take place in the cold or the snow or anything like that, but still, I don't know, winter. I also threw in 2 books that I have started that I need to finish, and I've thrown in 2 books that are classics that I just feel like I need to be reading more classics. Back when I was like in high school, that is like what I read. I read classics, and I feel like I'm finding more and more booktubers, which is fantastic, that love classics. And I'm like, you know what? I need to get back in that classics game because they are classics for a reason. So I need to get back on it. So the first book that is going to be on my TBR is going to be The Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. I started this one. I'm only a few chapters into it, and I loved it. I don't know why I put it down. So I'm going to try and get this one finished during the winter. 3 months. You think I can read it in 3 months? Let's hope so. Basically, this is about a girl. This takes place in like a magic-y king and queen era type of thing. This girl's up for death row. They're going to kill her. And they say, actually, instead of killing you, how about you become the king's taste tester and stuff like that and make sure that he's not getting poisoned. So that's what she does. She's like, okay, I guess I get to live another day, maybe, who knows, until the king gets poisoned. So she gets a job as the king's food tester, and that's about as far as I got in the book, but I know it gets better, and I'm very excited about it. The next book I need to finish is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I started this one, and I'm like a third of the way through it. And I started it, and I liked it, but then somebody told me to read the audiobook, so I got the audiobook, and I didn't like the audiobook very much. which is weird because I like audiobooks. I do. I enjoy them. So I was like, I don't like this. What I didn't like about it was like, I felt like I needed to see it. Like maybe I'd like it if I could like follow along or something, because they would be like, email 275-994-9 or 672-543-77717. And it's like, wait, what? Like when I was reading the book, I would just skip that and be like, okay, email numbers, go on. Like I don't register that. But anyway, I don't know. I think that because this book is what it is, like it's really like a visual book. That's a really cool page. Sweet. I have a feeling I would do better if I actually read this book. So I'm going to try and read it. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'll give it a shot. The 2 classics I'm wanting to read this month. No, let's stop that. The 2 classics I'm going to be reading this winter is going to be Verity, and this is by Charlotte Bronte. I have never read a Bronte sister book. I know. I was supposed to read Jane Eyre in high school. Pretty sure I read the Cliff Notes. I'm pretty sure that those were boring as well. So don't know if I've actually read Jane Eyre. I will read it eventually, but I want to read this one. I've heard fun things about this book actually, and I got this at a used bookstore for like $1. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to read this one. It's going to happen. And the next one I'm going to read is 1984 by George Orwell. And I don't have the book, but I have this little card that I got in a box and it has a quote on it. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. All I know is it's like one of the ultimate dystopian societies, and it's very controlling and controversial and all this kind of stuff. So I started it years and years ago and I didn't finish it. But like I said, I just need to make myself get into classics because I know once I get into them, I always enjoy them. It's just they're not as like fast-paced as most YA, and I've been reading a lot of YA, so I think I'm used to that fast pace. So once it gets slowed back down, it's like, we're going to talk about plot development for a while. I get bored, but I tell you what, if I'm willing to wait, I always enjoy it. So the next book I would like to read in the winter is going to be Holiday and Death by J.D. Robb. Now this is kind of a Christmassy book, so I might try and get it done for Christmas. I doubt I will. I have those 6 books upstairs, and it is literally a week till Christmas, so that may not happen, but that's okay because there's probably snow and then I'll feel like, you know, winter read. This is the 6th book in the In Death series by J.D. Robb, where we follow a cop named Eve Dallas. She's a homicide cop. And this is like in the future, like, you know, 2050 something. And so it has all these fun tech things. The world is so different, but I think it was written like, you know, late 90s. So I think that our interpretation, 98, our interpretation of, you know, 2050, like in 98 was a little lame sauce, but you know, she does well. These are pretty good books. I do like these. I'm not a huge Nora Roberts fan, but these books do give me substance, so I do like them. The next one I am going to read is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Yes, so this has a movie made after, so I'm going to imagine most people know what this is about. I've heard the book's better than the movie, so I'm going to read the book. I'm pretty sure I'm going to read it in January. Might push it to February. I do not know. Anyway, I'm going to read this. Next one I'm going to read is N.R.M. by Agatha Christie. Hey, I guess this is a classic. Agatha Christie. I love Agatha Christie. This is the 3rd book in the Tommy and Tuppence series, and I am excited to read this one. I read the first 2 earlier this year, and I discovered that the Tommy and Tuppence are my favorite Agatha Christie's. There are 5 of them, and this is number 3, and so I'm going to read it. Basically, it is a husband and wife couple that are kind of like detective-y people, and they get wrapped up in the Agatha Christie-ness of the world, and they're so sweet. Like, Miss Marple is fine, and Hercule Poirot's a bit of a jerk, but these 2 are just so sweet. I love them. Next, I am going to be getting to Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I am literally chapters away from being done with The Well of Ascension, so I'm itching to read this one. Again, I have 6 other books upstairs, so I do not think I'll be getting to this one in the next, like, by the end of the month, but I will be getting to it soon because they're just so good. Basically, this is the 3rd book in the Mistborn trilogy, and it's a world where basically there's a very bad man that rules, and he is a tyrant. And then we have our Ska, and they are like our slave labor, and you know, it's not okay. Things are not okay. And then our main character, Vin, finds out that she is just more than she appears to be, and she has some magical abilities. And the magic system in this is amazing. It is based on consuming metals. So when you consume pewter, you're stronger. When you consume tin, you can see really, really well, like see through fog and stuff like that. Not everybody has these abilities though, and some people have all the abilities, and most others that have the ability just have the one. So the magic system's great. The plot is great. It's fantastic. If you like fantasy, you should read the Mistborn books by Brandon Sanderson. You will not regret it. Matter of fact, you'll thank me. You'll send me a card or present or a dog. Oh, I would love to get a new dog, but not a puppy. Puppies drive me crazy. I like to see them, but I don't like them in my house because, you know, they pee everywhere and all that stuff. The next one I have is the Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend. Now, this is what I heard about a long time ago, and then I found it somewhere for like $1 at a used bookstore, and I was like, okay, and I kind of wanted to read it, and it looks very cozy because there's this cup of hot, steaming cocoa on the side, and I'm just like, I want to read this. Basically, I believe this is a book about a gal who, I want to say she's from Iceland, but I don't remember where she's from. Sweden. It's on the back of the book. She's from Sweden, and she has a pen pal who lives in Iowa, and she goes to visit her pen pal, but her pen pal died. Her pen pal owns this bookstore, and she left it to her, and so then she's in charge of this bookstore in this tiny town in the middle of Iowa, and it's about her interactions with the community. And I'm like, you know, I'm in Nebraska, that's right by Iowa, and I do understand small towns, so maybe I like this. The next book I have is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. I have tried to read this book several times. I have failed at reading this book. I have literally not gotten more than a chapter into this book, and everybody who's read this book is like, oh my goodness, why haven't you read this book? It is amazing. And I'm like, this is so I'm gonna really try and read this. I feel like it's kind of a fall read. Like I look at this, I'm like, ooh, it's a fall read. So fall read, winter read. Goodness stars, if it was snowing, I wouldn't be saying such things. This just kind of feels like a winter read to me. Like I look at it and I'm like, ooh, I'm a winter read. Look at me. So I think I'm going to try to give it a shot. I have the other two books too, but you know, you got to start at the beginning. Basically, it's about a girl who's supposed to be queen. She doesn't want to be queen and have to marry this guy. So she runs away. And then we have her perspective and these other two guys' perspective. One is the guy who she ran away from, and he goes after her. And the other one is like an assassin and he goes after her. But we don't know which is which. So yeah, that doesn't actually appeal to me, but the fact that everybody has been like, it's amazing, makes me want to read it. Next, I have The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I have never read any Sarah J. Maas before, ever. And a lot of people are like, what? How have you not read her? And I'm like, I don't know, I just haven't read her yet. Like, her books haven't appealed to me enough to make me want to read them when I'm supposed to read them. I don't know. I just haven't wanted to read them. But I have decided that it is time, and it is time to read these books. So I am going to be hopefully reading this one. This is the novella. So this has like 5. This has 5 novellas in it, and I wasn't sure where to start with this series, so I actually looked up online on Sarah J. Maas's site, and it said to start with the novellas and then start with the other books. So I'm going to start with this one first and see where it goes. I am expecting to like these. At least the first book should be really good because everybody seems to like the first book. It's when, you know, book like 3, 4, and 5 goes on, the people are like, I don't like them anymore. They killed my favorite character. So I don't know what to expect exactly, but I'm gonna start, I think, this winter, I think. Next one I have is Lien by Kristen Kishore. Now, I am not 100% sure what this is about. I know it's like a fantasy world, and people are born with certain graces or powers, and some of the powers are kind of stupid, like I can make water taste sweet, or I can make grass grow greener. I don't know, like I was told they were lame powers. And then this girl has a power to kill people. So she kind of becomes like the king's assassin, I believe. And that's all I really know about this one. Except that my husband read it last month and he said it was amazing. He wanted me to read it, but I already had a list of other books to read. But now this is on my list, and I'll hopefully read it this winter. The next few books I have are carryovers that I didn't read in the fall, but I still want to read in the winter. First one is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wen. And this is one that is about a female pilot. She's English, British, you know, World War II, and her plane goes down in France. And that's about all I know. But it's World War II, and I've actually read quite a few World War II lately. I kind of like reading World War II books, so I will most likely be getting to this one because it just sounds amazing. I want to read it. This one also takes place in World War II and is from last fall's TBR, so 2 points for that. This is about a girl whose mother dies and her father, I think he's in the war, and she gets sent back to her mom's hometown. And there are weird things happening there. Things are disappearing. Things like the ability to smell, or lakes, or big things that shouldn't disappear are disappearing. And she wants to get down to the bottom of it. Oh, and reflections. No reflections. I know, weird. This book's just intriguing. Like, I heard about it, I don't know, however many months ago. It came out this year, so not that many months ago. And I was just like, that sounds amazing. And then I got it in a book box, and I was like, wow, it must be fate. I need to read this book. So hopefully I'll get to this one. And then my last carryover is going to be Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I think I'm going to be buddy reading this one with my husband because he read Six of Crows after I read Six of Crows, and he loves Six of Crows like I love Six of Crows. And we both need to read this one. And there's no reason I haven't read it except for the stack of books upstairs from the library. Maybe I just need to stop requesting the books from the library. The problem is they all come at once. That's the problem. I'll like request them months in advance, and then finally they're like, oh, you have a book, and a book, and a book, and a book, and a book. Read them all. And I'm like, I can only read so fast. Reader probs, right? But I'm hoping to get to this one pretty soon while Six of Crows is fresh enough in my mind. Now, I'm also carrying over New York, and this is by Rutherford. I forget his first name. I'll put it here. This is basically a history of New York City. So it's like from when it first got founded to like modern day. And that is just the kind of history that I totally do enjoy. Only I know it's been fictionalized, historical fiction, whatever. And it's like a 3-incher. So it's going to be a pretty long book, but I don't care. I want to read it. The next one I have is Neverland by Wendy Spidell. This is kind of a Peter Pan retelling, I believe. And I am excited to read that. I didn't actually love Peter Pan by John Barry, and that might be because I actually read like a background, like in front of the Peter Pan book there was like this short biography about John Barry, and he's kind of a creepy weirdsmobile, so I was like, no thanks. But I read it and it was still weird and I didn't love it, but I like the cartoon movie and I would love to see a retelling of it, so hopefully I'll get to this. Next, I have The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron, and I was hoping to read this because I actually got this for Christmas last year. I just didn't get around to it. And then my friend who bought this for me last year bought me the sequel, so I don't know if it's a duology, a trilogy, or what. But I got the next one in series 2, and I thought, well, I should hurry up and read that one. And I was actually planning on reading this the fall because something about this fall, I did it again. Winter. I'm going to read this in the winter, but something around this, despite the fact that the leaves are falling, it makes me think of winter. Maybe it's because they're like sparkly. You know, it's so pretty. It's such a beautiful cover too. So I forget, I know, right, what this is about because it's been a while, but I'm thinking that this is about a place where they like wipe your memory like every 5 or 7 years or something like that. And except this one girl, her memory doesn't get wiped. She remembers all the time. And she thinks that, you know, no, we don't need to have our memories wiped. It's fine that we have memories and you guys can't make us do this anymore. And then she finds out there's actual really good reason for it. So, dun dun dun! The next one I have is Because You Love to Hate Me. This is the villain story. And this is like 13 stories, I think. And a bunch of booktubers helped write, like gave the prompts to these writers, these authors, by a ton of people. And I started this, I think I got this during the Booktubeathon in the summer. And I started it. I read like the first story or two and I liked them. I just put it down and I didn't pick it back up. And so I think I want to finish this one. Something about this screams January to me. I don't know what it is, but I want to read it. And the last one I have is not The Raven Boys, because I've read The Raven Boys, but The Raven King. I don't have it. I'll get it from the library, by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, I read the first 3. I think I don't know. I read the first one maybe last year. And then I read 2 and 3 this year. I read 2 last year. I read 3 this year. And I keep putting off reading it, but I think it's because I honestly really enjoyed these books. Like, I really love the characters. They are slow moving books, but I feel like they have great character development. The plot is really interesting. Like, I don't think I would have guessed it's gone where it's going. And it's a hard book to talk about too. I feel like when I get detailed, I'll be straight up spoiling things. And I've heard some descriptions of this. I'm like, I don't think I would have described this book that way, but whatever. But I do want to read The Raven King, and I do think I want to get it read this winter. I almost said fall again. You guys, I can't get fall out of my head. Maybe my shirt's too fall and not enough winter. I don't know. So that is it, you guys. Those are 20 books that I'm going to try and read this winter. Now, here's the tricky thing. I'm going to really aim in real life to read 10 of them. So you can just guess which 10 books that's going to be. And then if you're right, I will give you a high five or a side hug. Go ahead and tell me down below 1 or 2 books that you want to get read this winter. Feel free to comment or like or subscribe or share whatever it is you want to do. I usually post videos on Tuesdays. I post videos on Fridays. So I will just plan to see you guys then. Have a great winter, though you'll see me before it ends. Bye! Ooh, does this work? Can I do this? Does this look like me? Can you tell that I'm smiling? Can you tell that I'm frowning? Can you tell I lost weight? Anyway.